off a plane that was 15 hours long of a flight, getting through most of your boarding, and then getting told by customs, no. I thought I would have no problems living in a foreign country. I thought it would be easy peasy, I would do great. In the summer of 2019, I was hit with waves of diversity and culture shock. Overcoming these struggles and forcing myself out of my comfort zone was a time where I was at my best. My first struggle came in customs. I was going through and everything was good until I handed my papers to the last person. He looked at my papers and my passport, told me the only English word he knew, which was no, and ushered me into a corner where I sat alone for 2 hours. While I sat there, I watched every person I came over with go through customs perfectly fine, leaving me alone. I started to cry and sat there thinking, I'm stuck in a foreign country, no one's coming to help me, I don't speak Japanese, no one here speaks English, I'm done for, I'm gonna sit here and die. Then finally, my saving grace came. A man came and he spoke both English and Japanese. He told me he was gonna help me and no matter what, I would be okay. Come to find out, the only problem was I wrote my papers in a red pen instead of a black pen. He then went and he guided me all the way through customs into baggage claim. Here I find my luggage is gone. I start looking and we find out that I had been in customs for so long that they had been 4 planes after me of luggage, and mine was in a random storage closet we had to go find. Still, this guy refused to leave me alone and walked me from every single storage closet until we found my luggage and back to my group. Here is where my second big struggle arose, and that was my host family. They did not speak English. I was the only person out of the 14 I came over with a host family that was non-English speaking. This was really hard because obviously we could not communicate. We did a lot of hand signs for eating or I'm full or hungry, but that still just wasn't cutting it. So what helped me a lot was my little host sibling, Sudie. She's about 7. She would come into my room, grab my hand, march me around the house, and point to different objects all around the house. She would point to it and say it in Japanese and make me repeat it until she was satisfied. Then she would look at me and say, "Eigo," which means English. And I would say it in English, and she'd only have to repeat it once because, of course, she couldn't say anything wrong, ever. That really helped me learn Japanese and got me to be able to communicate with my host family much better, just being able to say I need to take a shower instead of going, shower. The next thing that really helped me understand Japanese was when I went to school. I went to school for 4 weeks while living in Japan. Here I got to meet a lot of people and do a lot of cool things. I was surrounded in total Japanese. Nobody spoke English during the school day. So that forced me to learn a lot, and my teachers would just come up and talk to me in Japanese. I didn't know what was going on, but I'd smile and nod anyway. This was my next biggest struggle, was being in school. I was the first white person anyone in my school had seen, in person. Like, they've obviously seen you on TVs, but they'd never met me once. So they would come up, touch my hair, as if it would be different than the hair on their head. They would say things like, "Oh, do you think our eyes look funny?" And I'd be like, "No, I've seen an Asian person before." And they were just dumbstruck by that. They couldn't imagine that I'd seen anyone that wasn't white. Then they went as far to tell me that my dad was not my real dad and there's no way he could be my real dad because he didn't have blonde hair. This was so hard for me because it was just such a cultural difference, and they just could not grasp the concept that I was not everyone is blonde hair and blue eyes in America, and that I've seen other cultures even though they haven't. The next problem was by far the hardest for me, and that was what to wear. In Japanese, they dress very conservatively, and you don't show skin like at all. What I'm wearing right now would be considered extremely inappropriate. You didn't wear jeans with holes, you never showed your shoulders, leggings were considered like undergarments, and everything was extremely strict. This was hard for me because obviously I wear leggings fairly often, I wear jeans with holes, and I wear tank tops. At this time, also the weather, it was about 110 degrees with humidity, and you had to wear long sleeves outside every day. I struggled with this, but slowly I got accustomed to it, and I even had to explain to some people, like, I'm fine, I'm just really hot, and like in America, I can show my shoulders, and no one's gonna care. The next thing I struggled with a lot was food. I had to eat some of the craziest things I'd ever ate. I ate raw jellyfish, and I even ate American food, but really that just meant a piece of pizza with shaved salmon instead of cheese. This was hard for me because I was an extremely picky eater and struggled with eating all these different foods. In 2019, I had to face one of the biggest struggles of my life, and that was living in Japan. Through opening myself up and being open-minded and accepting all the different diversity around me, I was at my best. Thank you.